Good morning, freelancers. Welcome to another Anthem video. I'm PTT and today I give you my personal top tips for flying. Now, many of you may already know what we're about to talk about, so please feel free to let me know in the comments section down below if you think I missed anything out, or leave me any tips you think may indeed help new players coming to the game. With that aside, let's just jump straight into it. So up first, let's cover the biggest thing, and that is your Javelin's jets. Now, if you're watching this video, then I assume you already know that Javelins can fly in game, and they do this by means of mini jets molded to their suits. Now, every Javelin has a maximum time that they can stay in the air, but this timer can indeed be reduced in many ways. That's something we will cover later, but for this tip I'm going to be telling you about overheating and why you need to keep an eye on your flight bar so you can land in time and not overheat your suit. So at the bottom of the screen in game you will see a bar that slowly fills up while flying. When this bar hits the end, your suit will overheat and you will come crashing to the ground. When this happens, you will end up on an extended cooldown before you can take off and fly again. However, if you land just before your suit overheats, then your time on the ground will be considerably reduced and you will be able to take off and fly again much quicker. So yeah, make sure guys you keep an eye on that bar and land frequently so as not to overheat. Next then, let's talk about extending your flight time. Now, this is very important if you want to stay in the air for long periods of time and spend less time on the floor. Now, extending your flight time can be done in several different ways and all are effective. So we're actually going to go ahead and cover some of these now. Number one, you can fly closer to or in water. This will apply the cooled effect to your suit and give you the longest flight extension possible. The cooled effect can be noted on the left hand side of the screen and by the fact your flight bar will turn blue. Number two, rapidly descend. So when dropping altitude very quickly, your suit will start to cool down. Now obviously this is very situational, but is definitely worth noting. Number three, equip flight extension inscriptions. Now this one is something I personally wouldn't recommend because your inscriptions are far better spent on other things than just increased flight time, but it is worth noting if you do wish to go down this road. And finally, number four. Now, this one is out of your hands, but again, it is worth noting, and that is that when weather in Anthem is set to rain, your flight time will indeed increase because your suit will be permanently cooled by the weather. Now, this, just like the rapid descent, is very situational, and unfortunately, this is the only one that you, the player, can't directly affect, but again, it's useful knowledge, so I made sure to throw it in there. Next then, let's talk about in-air mobility. Now, the Storm, Ranger and Interceptor Javelins all have a dodge move that can be used while in the air. Now, for the Storm, this is a short-range teleportation, whereas the Ranger and Interceptor, it's more of a barrel roll that can be used to dodge incoming fire. Now on controller this is achieved by double tapping B, and on PC it is achieved by whatever key binding you have chosen. Now this is something that comes in very handy guys, especially when in harder content, so don't sleep on learning how to best utilise this mechanic in a fight. Now you may have noticed that I haven't mentioned the Colossus yet, so let's do that now. Sadly, the Colossus does not have a dodge ability when flying, but you can tap the same button as you would on the other Javelins to dodge, and you will instead bring up your shield and fly along with the shield directly in front of you. Now again, this has many uses and can really come in handy when the Colossus is doing its job at the front of an attack, so yeah, similar to the other Javelins guys, make sure to learn this trick and how to best use it in the situations that require it. Next then, let's talk about hovering. I assume by now you all know that hovering is a thing for all Javelins, but depending on what Javelin you are using depends on how long you can hover for, and in the case of the Storm, you will actually take reduced damage while in hover mode. Now, my top tip for hovering is that you use it to get above enemies so you can rain down with your abilities rather than using your abilities on the ground. Now, this is more of a personal thing, guys, but having tried all of the Javelins out now, apart from the Interceptor, you can get a better effect with your skills when you're in the air and can get a better look at your combat zone than if you actually stood on the floor just looking at what's in front of you. Now, I think this comes as a bit of common sense, but yeah, not everyone thinks like me, and that's kind of why I'm including it in a top tip video, guys, so, you know, you can try it for yourself and see what I mean. It's pretty hard to explain where I'm coming from, but give it a try, guys, and you will see that using abilities in the air does give you a small tactical advantage. And finally, guys, I want to talk about the radar. This is something that was added into the game more recently and definitely helps when trying to navigate to certain objects. Its position is dead center at the top of the screen and will give you a visual direction to your objective. Now, it is also worth noting that along with a directional guide, left, right, forwards and backwards, the radar can tell you if an object is above or below you, so comes in very handy when flying or hovering around looking for an objective, hence why I included it in a flying tips video. And that, guys, I think is going to wrap up the video. Now, again, I hope the information was helpful to you, and I would very much love to read any tips you may have that I didn't cover in the comment section down below. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video. Have a great evening, and until the next one, I'll catch you all soon.